It's almost like a robbery. I call it a life robbery because there are people who come to rob you of something in your life. Come to you like hungry for all this information, and there you go, feeding. They don't want you to do better than them. They don't want you to grow. And what kind of person is that? They're the kind of person who, when things start going well for you, they're gonna get very, very jealous. Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Kudzie Mapiye, and on this channel I do videos about my life living here in Australia, and I also share different life lessons that I've learned along the way. Today I'm going to be sharing a life lesson, and it's a life lesson in friendship. I'm sure you all know that adult friendships are very complicated at times. And like childhood friendships are complicated, but adult friendships with all your other activities and responsibilities, it just becomes a little bit harder to manage. And sometimes what I've learned along my journey living here in Australia is that, sometimes you get so busy with everything else that you're doing that you don't really check in with yourself about the people that you're letting into your life. And because I didn't check in with myself all the time about the people who would come into my life, I found myself in some very prickly situations sometimes with people that have entered my life. And after some time, I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on here? Because I start to discover that this kind of person is not the kind of person I should have let into my life. Now, today I'm going to be talking about what I've drawn from those situations, and I wanted to share 3 types of friends that you should look out for. You should really watch these type of people before you let them in your life, because things can just go left. Okay, so the first type of people are those that come in too quickly, because most of the time they will leave your life just as quickly as they came in. And what do I mean by those who come in too quickly? Have you ever had those kind of friends that come into your life and it feels like you became best friends overnight, and things are seeming like they're just going a little bit too fast for your liking and your level of comfort? I have had those kind of people come into my life where I'm just like, oh, okay, we're best friends now, I guess. And things have just progressed, and it feels like just a whirlwind, and you don't know what happened. Next thing, you're doing all these things together and you hardly even know this person. Why I say to watch out for those people is you don't know their intentions. Really think about it. Even if no matter how nice a person you are, people need to get to know you to understand what you're about. People need to take time to know you before they become close to you. Because, if people come with other intentions, they can skip steps. If someone has a really good intention in their head and they want to come into someone's life, it's very easy for them to skip, let's get to know each other, skip what are you about, skip what are your intentions, because they're clear on theirs, and then they just zoom right in, take you you're just confused, oh my goodness, what is happening here? And they get in with an intention in your life, do whatever it is that they wanted to do, and get out just as quickly. It's almost like a robbery. I call it a life robbery because there are people who come to rob you of something in your life. And those are usually the people who come in too quickly and they leave just as fast. Have you ever seen how a robber works? When a thief, is breaking into a house, they're not going slowly. They are barging into that place, rushing to get whatever it is they want and rushing back out. Those are those kind of friendships. There are people who are rushing into your life. Maybe they've heard certain things about you. Maybe they've got some intention that they want. There are some things that they want to come and do, or there's some information they want to come and find out from you. As soon as they get it, they're out. So watch out for those people. I have had a couple of those people come into my life, and at first I was confused, and then I was like, accepted. Oh, they must be such a nice person, and we've gotten to know each other really quickly. And they acted like they knew me, but I didn't even know them. And only to realize after some time that, they had a hidden agenda, and it was already, after they've already left and things have already happened, that you're like, oh my goodness, I should have never let that person into my life. So that's the first type of people to watch, those that come in too quickly. The second type of friends to watch are those that tell you too much information about other people, especially when they are still getting to know you. There are people who just come and they want to tell you everyone's business. It's like they're taking everyone's skeletons out of the cupboard, and they're keeping, their cupboard is locked. They don't have any stories about themselves, but they seem to have stories about all these other people around you. They're like, hey, do you know this person? Yeah, blah, 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 blah. They tell you all their stories, all their gossip, all their drama. Next person, they tell you all their stories. And then you kind of create this weird bond over people you know and their stories. And that is just a recipe for disaster. Because if someone is telling you stuff, especially like very sensitive stuff about other people who you're not even close to, and those people have not disclosed that information to you, and you know for a fact they would not want you to be knowing that information about them, then be careful. This kind of person is the kind of person who's going to do the same thing to you. They're going to come in, you're going to tell them your stuff, they're going to go to the next person and tell them all your business. So watch out for that second group of people. And then the third and final group of people is, I call these the vampires. People who come and suck information out of you. They come and suck life out of you. They come and suck information out of you. And you're always like bleeding information. You're always feeding them stuff. You're like their feeder. They come to you like hungry for all this information. And there you go, feeding. They might be asking you information about certain things. They might be asking you, I don't know, anything. Or you start talking, you're the one who's always sharing, and they're always the consumer of your information. Watch out for those people. They are people who hardly want to tell you anything. Like, you can share like all these things that or tips, tricks, blah, blah, blah. The moment they find something that is beneficial, guess what? They're going to keep it to themselves. They're not going to share it with you because you're their feeder. They have taken on the role of consumer, and you have they have given you, and you have accepted the role of producer. So you produce, consume, they consume, and that is a very unbalanced relationship. At the end of the day, in those kind of friendships, the producer starts feeling very depleted, starts feeling very betrayed, very robbed, how come they start noticing that, hey, how come when this person gets information, they don't share it with me, and I'm the only person who's always sharing my information, So those kind of people are people to watch out for, because if someone doesn't want to share beneficial information with you, it only means that they're not promoting your growth. They're not concerned about your progression. They don't want you to do better than them. They don't want you to grow. And what kind of person is that? They're the kind of person who, when things start going well for you, they're gonna get very, very jealous, because as far as they're concerned, you're supposed to be feeding them, and they're supposed to be consuming and growing 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 in life, and you're supposed to be producing and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and then they become bigger than you, and then that's where they find their level of comfort and their level of security. And they know that you're a source of certain kind of information, so they come and they latch onto you and they suck, just like a vampire. So watch out for those people. Anyone who doesn't promote your growth is a dangerous person, because if you're not promoting each other's growth, then you're promoting each other's downfalls. So watch out for those people. And I have had the misfortune of encountering these types of friends or associations in my life here in Australia. And I have usually learned the very, very hard way that, these are people to watch out for. Always take time to know people before you let them get comfortable in your life. Before you let them into the inner circle, be very careful. And especially if you're someone who's always like open arms with people. Like I was certainly, I think I still am to a certain extent, that kind of person who, is very open arms. Like someone comes and they're friendly, I'm like, hey, like, it's just part of my nature. But I've learned to restrain myself and to really watch and say, you know what, not everyone has good intentions. I love to believe the best of people, but unfortunately not everyone has good intentions. And because I've learned the hard way over time, I have just learned to take my time with people, because you know what, someone can pretend to be something they're not. But the biggest revealer of all truth is time. If you take time with that person to really just hang out with them, observe, feel them out, they will get tired of the act. There's no act that lasts forever. Their real selves will start to shine through gradually, and you begin to see, I see what you're about. I see what you want. I see why you walked into my life. You start to discover that. So don't be in a hurry to really link up with people or whatever it is. Just take your time, get to know them, let them get to know you genuinely, not just have this idea of who they think you are. Like, let people get to know you, you get to know them, and that's how you build the most supportive, the most, authentic friendships that will be beneficial for both. So yeah, those are some of the lessons that I have learned from friendship that I just wanted to share with you, to watch out for 3 red flags, 3 type of people that you definitely want to watch before they come into your life. So that's all from me, guys. I will see you in the next video.